However, there was one issue: his sword had already worn out. Despite being a high-end weapon, its durability had decreased significantly after so many consecutive battles. There was a story told by a dream hunter about an occasion when he had bought a dagger that cost a little over 50,000 won. Hunting became much easier with it, but as could be seen from his method of battle, the dagger broke down very quickly. Even on that day with the 50,000 won dagger, he had only managed to obtain 3 E-rank crystals. Yet here one could see how happy hunter Sung Jin-Woo was because he had this sword. As observed, he had succeeded in killing all the Raken during this battle. He had received quite a number of drops, and among these drops was the very thing he needed most, the Stone of Return. Then hunter Sung Jin-Woo thought about returning. However, from the way he grasped the Stone of Return, one could tell he did not want to go back yet. Still, he pondered what would happen to the dungeon if he used the stone. Since this dungeon was created by the system, he assumed it would likely disappear once he left. Yet he did not wish to stop there. Eventually, he decided to continue mopping up the dungeon. He walked deeper into it, stepping into the darkness. Here he was seen fighting the Raken once again. It was clear he was determined to extract everything possible from this dungeon. Soon other monsters appeared before him, such as Briga, who resembled a panther, and Razan, who looked like a monkey. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo had definitely become stronger, and the magical power around him felt clearer than before. However, it was noticeable that his sword had accumulated even more scratches. He had already defeated many monsters, and it seemed as though he knew exactly what they were going to do. He was anticipating their movements, realizing that there was a distinct pattern to how these monsters acted. This made it easier for him to deal with them. Adjusting the position of his hand, he picked up the sword. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo stabbed Razan's chest with one sharp movement. Then, without pausing his attack, he chopped off the head of one of the Briga. Immediately afterward, he continued his assault, cutting off the head of the second Briga. Suddenly, a Raken appeared from the other side, but its appearance did not unsettle hunter Sung Jin-Woo in any way, and he effortlessly sliced the creature in two. And so after numerous battles against monsters, he began to notice one thing. Depending on their strength, the color of the lettering above their heads changed to display their names. When hunter Sung Jin-Woo had first entered this dungeon, the color of the Raken's name had been red. But now it had turned white, which meant that hunter Sung Jin-Woo had become much stronger. However, he faced one problem. He sensed an eerie aura emanating from the basement below, even though he had already cleared so many enemies above. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo had encountered monsters much stronger than this one, yet he felt that there might be trouble coming from the monster lurking below. An ominous aura never failed to seep from the basement, sending a thrill through hunter Sung Jin-Woo. Since ordinary monsters were no longer a challenge for him, there was little point in continuing to fight them anymore. If his stay in this dungeon were prolonged, his sword would eventually break. And so hunter Sung Jin-Woo made the decision to descend, going lower and lower into the depths. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo felt the ominous aura growing stronger and stronger. The descent was much longer than he had expected or anticipated. Finally, he reached the bottom. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo reached the very end of the path. Immediately after descending, he was struck by a swift and scathing blow. Though he managed to block it, the monster proved too strong and he couldn't deflect the attack entirely. It hurled him into the wall. The impact was so severe that his internal organs were damaged and he began coughing up blood. To continue fighting after such a devastating blow, he needed to take a brief moment to catch his breath. But as it turned out, that single strike had broken his sword. It turned out he had been wrong when he thought he had raised his level enough. And now at last the boss of this dungeon revealed itself, Lord of the Swamp Blue Rasaka, a creature that resembled a massive snake. Its eyes were so fierce they radiated terror, and its 2 front fangs were incredibly sharp. The dream hunter realized that this creature was the dungeon boss. Against the backdrop of this formidable opponent, the hunter appeared small, but not insignificant. The color of the boss's name was orange, which indicated that it wasn't overwhelmingly powerful. However, its scales were so tough that hunter Sung Jin-Woo's sword couldn't pierce them. Already wounded and holding a broken sword, hunter Sung Jin-Woo stood his ground as the dungeon boss stared directly at him.